Today I'm going to be reading the book of Job. It starts with chapter 1 and it ends in chapter 40. Thank you for joining and listening to the books of the Bible read in a random suburban park here in Texas. There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job. And that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared God and eschewed evil. And there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters, 10 children in total. His substance was 7,000 sheep, and 3,000 camels, and 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 she-asses, and a very great household. So that this man was the greatest of all the men of the east. And his sons went and feasted in their houses, every one of his day, and sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and to drink with them. And it was so. When the days of their feasting were about gone, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning, and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, "It may be that my sons have sinned. It may be that my sons have sinned and cursed God in their own way, in their hearts." Thus did Job continually. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came among them. And the Lord said unto Satan, "Whence comest thou?" Then Satan answered the Lord and said, "From a going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it." Hope you don't mind me stopping and pausing for a little bit of commentary. But I want to notice this. Here in Job verse 7, the enemy or Satan says that he goes to and fro in the earth and walking up and down it. And that verse solidifies what the Lord says about himself is that he is omnipresent, which is always around, omnipresent, always present. And the enemy is not. It roams around like a Roman lion ready to devour. But the Lord is everywhere at all times. Verse 8. And the Lord said unto Satan, "Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth God and sheweth evil?" Then Satan answered the Lord and said, "Doth Job fear God for naught?" Basically, he is saying, is it that he fears you for nothing? In this, the enemy is trying to search out the playing field, trying to figure out Job's weaknesses, for why else would the Lord offer him up? And this is to reveal more about the enemy's character than it is to reveal about Job. And to add to that, it also reveals the Lord's character of what he allows to happen for us, right? But in the midst of us being revealed what happens for us, we need to know if the enemy is giving a chance, what will the enemy do to us with all of its power, all of the permissions? And we get to see that later on in the book of Job. Verse 9. Then Satan answered the Lord and said, doth Job fear God for naught? Hast not thou made an hedge about him, and about his house, and all about that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. Meaning, the enemy has been watching and observing Job, noticing that he has a hedge around him, that he has treasures and been blessed all abounds, and that his works and has been increased with his hands from the work of God. Verse 11. But put forth thine hand now, and touch all he hath, and he will be cursed thee to thy face. Basically, he said, paraphrasing, go ahead and put your hand out and touch everything he has, and he will curse you, Lord, and to your face, right? And the Lord said unto Satan, behold, which means look, all that he hath is in thy power, and only upon himself put not forth his hand. Basically, I'm giving you power. I'm gonna let you do your big one. But the only thing you can't touch is his life. And in this is a revelation, is no enemy, no one can promise your life. No one can guarantee your life. Sometimes the power of what happens to you, the blessings, the downfalls in your life, it doesn't mean that the enemy is constructing all of this himself. They call it a test. Tell me, what is a test that you've taken that was never made or prepared? Every test was made and prepared, and every test has a correct answer, and every test will be judged. It doesn't matter who's passing out the test. Know that the test comes from the maker, and the maker needs to judge it. Think of it as like a star or a state test. Your teacher passes it out, but that's all they can do. They can't even help you. Just watch and roam and notice, oh, they're going to get that one wrong. Oh, that child is struggling. The test preparer doesn't see all of this, right? But because the Lord is the Lord, he does. He's the test maker. He's you. He's the process. He's the procedure. But the ones in the room orchestrating sometimes have the littlest and smallest of powers, right? Until granted otherwise. Verse 13. Verse 12. And the Lord said unto Satan, behold, all that he hath is in thy power. Only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord. So he just went to and fro so many times, he done bumped into the Lord. And there was a day when his sons and his daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And there came a messenger unto Job and said, the oxen were plowing, and the asses feeding beside them, and the Sabeans fell upon them, and took them away. Yea, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only escaped alone to tell thee. Alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking simultaneously, there also came another and said, The fire of God is fallen from heaven, and hath burned up the sheep and the servants, and consumed them, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there also came another and said, The Chaldeans made out 3 bands, and fell upon the camels, and have carried them away, yea, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there also came another and said, Thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness, and smote the 4 corners of the house, and it fell upon the young man, and they are dead. And I am escaped alone to tell thee. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. Then Job arose and rent his mantle, basically ripped his clothing, shaved his head, fell down upon the ground, and worshipped. And said, verse 21, Naked I come out of my mother's womb, and naked I shall return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. In all this Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly. This is intense. And this is only chapter 1. Notice, all this happened in the beginning. Chapter 1. One day he had it all, and the same day he had absolutely nothing. And when they say, and when it is spoken that, and yet they were talking, this is overlapping. Hey, your plants, but hey, hey, your car blew. Hey, your children, hey, hey, 4 times. And you know what they said about 4? That beats a crowd. And now that we know about God's character, we then nextly learn about the enemy's character. And then the most impressive, it seems, character that we've seen throughout this whole first chapter is Job, or Eob, and saying, The Lord giveth, and the Lord taketh away. I came in here naked, I will leave naked. And he said, Bless the name of the Lord. I won't sit here and tell you what to do in times of trial. That's not my job. That's not my place. But if I were giving you a message as a messenger, for I am the only one in my family that escaped to tell you, charge it to the Lord. Thank you, God. Thank you. Bless you. Bless you. Take it a small step further. This won't be long, this little commentary, but if everything in your life ever never happened, would you be where you are now? Good, bad, and different. And because you know that there are only good things ahead, aren't you happy for every waking moment, every sleeping moment, every passing moment, active, inactive, or in between? Yes, you're homeless today, but don't you anticipate having a home one day? So blessed are the days that I am homeless and days that you are poor. Don't you have a hope in the future that in the future you will have what I said, a home or poor riches in the future? The answer is yes. Yes, yes, and amen. So treat the Lord as such. Moving on to chapter 2. Again, there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord. And Satan came also among them to present himself before the Lord. And what does that confirm? That Satan will too be judged. And times when you're asking, well, will they get away with this? No. They will be judged. They will be judged. And the Lord said unto Satan, from whence comest thou? Or when did you come? Or from where did you come? And Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down it. Once again, this is kind of comical. I'm underlining this as I'm saying it. From going to and fro in the earth and walking up and down it. Let me tell you. You are going to run into the Lord. This is obvious. This is apparent. You're going to run into the Lord. If the enemy does, you will. And he was roaming so much, he met him twice. In the same day. Supposedly, assumedly. And the Lord said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job? There is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth God and eschewed evil. And still, hold on, because at first it was word for word, and then it changes. And the first word that changes is still. He holdeth fast in his integrity, although thou hast movest me against him to destroy him without cause. Right? And Satan answered the Lord and said, skin for skin, yea. All that a man hath, he will give for his life. But put forth thy hand now, and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face. Number 2. So he caused basically an entire life plague, a physical plague, to or an outwardly plague on Job's life, destroying everything that he had, his identity, even his treasures, possessions. And after that, he still wasn't satisfied. Or the enemy, it's not really genders. The enemy wasn't satisfied. He said, you know what? Nah. A man will give up his life for everything he has. You know, like some men do that. That doesn't have that much worth, which it does, which is we can manipulate the Lord. It's like, that's slight work. That's nothing, right? It's just stuff. It's just people. It's just family. That wasn't him. He said, how about you put his hand to his bone? At first he said, skin for skin. Yea, all that a man hath will give his life. But put forth thy hand now and touch his bone. Let's see, it says bone here. Let me see something. 5, 2 and 5. What it says? His bone and his flesh, and he will curse his bone and his flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face. Now, notice, that's underlined bone and flesh. This is going to take us deeper to when we experience something in our lives. This is going to help us identify, is it the enemy coming against us with the flesh? Right? Sometimes it's like, Lord, how do I know it's me? How do I know it's the flesh? Right? How do I know that it's you if it's not? Let's see. And the Lord said unto Satan, behold, he is in thine hand. Ooh, wait a minute. The Lord said unto Satan, look, behold, he is in thy hand. But save his life. But save his life. Do your big one. But save his life. Not the enemy in the midst of power asking the Lord for more power. Not the enemy being forgetful. Interesting, right? Hey, you have the power, man. Still asking permission. Still asking the Lord to do his work. Do it for me. No. You have the power, right? You do it. You do it. You do it. But save his life. Can't touch your life. That's the only limitation. Exercise your power. Get big. Get strong. But you'll never be strong enough to do this. You'll never be me. And does the enemy give up? No. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord, just like the sons of God. Okay. And smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his foot unto his crown. Right? So basically, from his root to the crown. Now, some people are very iffy about this, but I like to include it because it's very important. We have different power points in our bodies. Meditations, chakras, energy points, all of these things. From the soles of our feet is our roots. And then going up, we have our solar plexus, our womb space. We have our, I didn't remember all of them. We have all 7 chakras. hold on, let me look it up really quickly, because I want this to be accurate, and I need to be able to learn this by heart and not breeze through life with, passable information. So at the top, we have our third eye. Wait, at the top we have our crown. To his crown, right? Let's put crown at the top of a paper, and at the bottom, let's put the root. If you watch William Donahue on YouTube, you will learn about this also. I learned a lot about him and how this all truly ties in, something that we're not taught. Up from the root, you can write sacral. Up from the sacral, solar plexus. Up from the solar plexus, the heart. Up from the heart, the throat. Up from the throat, the third eye. And up from the third eye, the crown. Okay? So the root is the foundation and connection with the earth. Right? And it connects with the basic human instinct for survival, security, and stability. You can look up a lot of these things, right? But I just wanted to get the basic ones. So foundational, and your connection to earth. And the earth is basically the connection to yourself. The foundation is the connection to God. Foundation is the God, and the earth is the self. Your creation and your creator. The sacral. Vitality, it represents. Passion. Reproduction. Joy. Creativity. Emotions. Energy. And self-gratification. Okay? The solar. It governs our confidence. And control. Okay? And solar means the sun. Right? Sacral sounds like secret. Secret, private, sacred. Or secret or sacred. The heart. This is a good one. The integration point of all chakras. The integration. Love. forgiveness, and compassion. The throat. The throat chakra governs our ability to express, communicate clear thoughts and ideas, truth, maturity, independence, and ability to trust others. Wow. The third eye is the center of divine wisdom. It seeks to know the truth in all things. That's important. And it rules our intuition, consciousness, perception, and imagination. And the crown, which represents full connection to Source, God, and guidance from the divine, is received here. And as you can see, as we're going up, it gets more deeper with God. So when the Lord said that the boils are from the soles of his foot to his crown, meaning that every point of who he is going to be tested, spiritually, physically, emotionally, with other people, with who he is, with who he know God to be, with who he know his friends to be, with who he knows himself to be, the deepest connection of who he is, the deepest connection of who he isn't. In this, everything will be revealed about Job. He will learn about himself. Know thyself. We've seen, or some people have seen The Matrix, but The Matrix really big thing was know thyself. And this, through tests and trials, what we're doing is we're getting acquainted with exactly who we are. Who we are. And who we are isn't who we are. Who we are is who God is. In connection to who we are. So continuing on, verse 8 in chapter 2, and he took him a potsherd to scrape himself withal. Basically, he took a piece of a pot to scrape his skin, and he sat down among the ashes. Then said his wife unto him, dost thou still retain thou integrity? Curse God and die. Ooh-wee. His wife, y'all. His first connection. The root. This is the root. Whew. Because then one of his his other piece of his foundation is questioning him. His other half of his earth is questioning his existence of his creator and who it is. Be a man. Curse God. Die. Right? And it's not that she don't want to see him like this. It's not that she don't want to see him like this. She don't want to see him like this. That ain't nothing to do with you. But anyhow, I digress. But he said to her, Thou speakest as one of a foolish woman speaketh. What? Shall we receive good at the hand of God, and shall we not receive evil? Hey, God says the lightness and the darkness are safe to him, but he also says that good and evil both come from me. Good and evil both come from me. So when he says, shall we receive good at the hand of God, and shall we not receive evil? Basically, it's saying, girl, do you not believe the word? The word is saying, good and evil both come from me. How can God give you a test and trial without taking everything that he created into factors? There's no way. And all this did not Job sin with his lips. Hey, with his lips. And you know why that is significant? Because our words are spells. Our words are spells and paintbrushes. Our words create. Our words conjure. Our words can connect. And our words can completely destroy. It can dismantle. And it can disconnect. Even us. Do not sin with your lips. Don't repeat everything you hear. Notice the Lord said, take every thought into captivity. Don't repeat them. Just take them into captivity. Jeez. Right? Verse 11. Now when Job's 3 friends, mind you, this is only chapter 2, y'all. Now when Job's 3 friends heard all of this evil that was come upon him, they came every one from his own place. Eliphaz, the Temanite, Bildad, the Shahite, and Zophar, the Naamathite. For they had made an appointment together to come mourn with him and to comfort him. Now, this is also foundational, but it's getting deeper because his friends came together. Not just showing it's showing the integrity or the character of his friends versus the character of his wife. Not even versus, but it's just showing the dynamic. Will your friends make an appointment? Are your friends even connected to each other where they can talk amongst each other to come and talk to you? Mourn with you. Not even come talk you out of it and, cheer you up. But sit there and just cry with you. Right? It's the same day. It's showing us also what kind of friends he had. Wow. I'm going to underline that. They made an appointment together to come mourn with him and come mourn with him and comfort him. And when they lifted up their eyes afar off and knew him not, they lifted up their voice and wept. And they rent every one his mantle, and sprinkled dust upon their heads towards heaven. They also ripped their clothing and did as he did. They met him where he was. They just met him there. It was like, oh my gosh. Me too, bro. So they sat down with him on the ground 7 days and 7 nights, and none spake a word unto him, for they saw that his grief was very great. How long can you sit in the uncomfortability of somebody else? That's a good one. How long can you sit in the uncomfortability of someone else's story? I'm remembering something I wrote today. I watched today. You're going to hear quite of the same people I talk about in my life, because I'm very particular on who I spend my energy watching, consuming. But Kennedy Johnson was saying, when she was having her issue with her apartment, she was talking about how she knows that her friends are tired of hearing it. But she said, because I know that because I'm tired of talking about it. Who's to say that they aren't the friends that you've made that will sit with you? Sit with you literally through your grief. And it's not every day. And even if it is, don't you think you're worth 7 days of that friendship? You've been probably friends for 7+ years. A grief is a grief, and we must all learn to sit with each other in that grief. Give it time. And they say nothing for 7 days. Ain't said nothing. Just watch them sit there, cry, weep, grieve, mourn. 10 kids, all his wealth, all he has, including his wife, who done told him to curse him and die. Moving on. Now we're in chapter 3, and I really do feel like after chapter 3, I'm just going to call this a night because it's getting dark now. Woo! Wow, this is getting good. Good in the space of, it's a lot going on here. And like I said, his friends brought him back down. His friends were rooted. Now, the enemy can cause whatever it wants into your life, but it can't control. It's not omnipresent. It can't work on a problem, but still work on the friend. Now, if in the midst, it can influence, but the power sometimes is very limited. Chapter 3. After this opened Job his mouth. Right? So now we're at the throat chakra. It took 7 days of silence for him to finally be able to speak. So with morning, he just cried. He literally said nothing. Just cried. And Job spake. He opened his mouth and cursed his day. After all this crying, he cursed his day. And we're going to figure out what his day was. And Job spake and said, let the day perish wherein I was born, and the night in which it was said, there is a man-child conceived. Let the day be darkness. Let not God regard it from above. Neither let the light shine upon it. Let darkness and the shadow of death stain it. Let a cloud dwell upon it. Let the blackness of the day terrify it. Ooh. As for that night, let darkness seize upon it. Let it not be joined unto the days of the year. Let it not come into the number of the months. Lo, let that night be solitary. Let no joyful voice come therein. Let them curse it that curse that day. who are ready to raise up their mourning. Let the stars of the twilight thereof be dark. Let it look for the light, but have none. Let it see the dawning of the day, because it shut not up the doors of my mother's womb, nor hid sorrows from mine eyes. Why died I not from the womb? Why did I not give up the ghost when I came out of the belly? Why did the knees prevent me? Why did the breasts that I should suck? For now should I have lain still and been quiet. I should have slept, then I had been at rest. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna stop here. Whoa. This is heavy stuff, y'all. I don't want to say basically. I learned this once. It is not that, that a normal that a Christian struggles with suicidal thoughts. It is not unheard of that a Christian, not even Christian, that a spiritual person struggles with suicidal thoughts. This man is cursing not only the day he died, but cursing he said he cursed his day, the day, to be such in a place of despair that you think about the entire day of your birth in detail, and curse even the sun shining, to curse the stars, to curse the dirt, to curse the womb, to curse what was said that day, to curse what was done that day, to curse what was before, to curse the person that held you, the womb, to curse the soul that entered into that baby spirit, to even say, listen to this again, verse 12. Why did the knees prevent me? Or why the breast that I should suck? For now I should have lain still and been quiet. I should have slept, and then I've been at rest. Basically, he is saying, as a baby, I shouldn't have cried for even milk. I shouldn't have cried for milk, for care, for starvation. I should just let myself just lay there and die. You guys, that's deep. He said, let darkness cloud the day. Let the day be darkness. Go read that. If you think that anything you said was truly so dark, read the Bible. Read about people's darkest days. I'm sure you've never said, I cursed the day that I was born. I'm sure you've never said that. Not comparing oranges to apples here, just an observation. Would you ever say, have you ever been through anything where it's like, as a baby, I should have just not cried for milk? I should have went against my natural childish instincts and shut up and just laid there. Then I had been at rest. Whew. Verse 14, with kings and counselors of the earth, which built desolate places for themselves, or with princes that had gold to fill their houses with silver, as and hidden untimely birth, I had not been, as infants which never saw the light. He says they should never saw the light. There the wicked cease from troubling, and there the weary be at rest. There the prisoners rest together. They hear not the voice of the oppressor. The small and great are there, and the servant is free from his master. Wherefore is life given to him that is in misery, and life unto the bitter soul, which long for death, but it cometh not. Ooh, y'all. This is sad, y'all. Ooh, this is heavy. Ooh. Verse 14, let me break it down. With kings and counselors of the earth, which built desolate places for themselves. He said, I had been at rest with. He starts everything off with rest with kings and counselors of the earth, which built desolate places for themselves. So with those who were greedy. He would have been at rest with those princes that had gold, who filled their houses with silver. Also, greed. Those who were greedy. Or, as in hidden, untimely birth, I had not been, as infants which never saw the light. With aborted, that sounds like with, as hidden untimely birth. As a hidden untimely birth, I had not been. As infants which never saw the light. So I'm thinking it has to do with abortions, or those that aborted babies, or those who abort children. There the wicked cease. There the wicked cease from troubling, and there the weary be at rest. There or with a princess that, or as in hidden untimely birth, which I had not been, as infants that never saw the light. So I think, with aborted babies. I think the or is a separation of either I would be in heaven or I'd be in hell. There the wicked cease from troubling, and there the weary will be at rest. That's heaven, right? So aborted babies are in heaven. There the prisoners rest together, and they hear not the voice of the oppressor. Heaven. The small and great are there, and the servant is free from his master. Heaven. Wherefore is light given to him in that misery, and life unto the bitter soul. Heaven, a new life. 21, which long for death. Ooh, bitter soul. Which long for death, but cometh not. Which long for death, but cometh not. And dig for it more than for hid treasures, which rejoice exceedingly and are glad when they can find the grave. Ooh. Which long for death, but it cometh not. My goodness, suffering. And dig for it more than for hid treasures, which, what is the which? The soul. The soul which rejoice exceedingly and are glad when they can find the grave. Why is light given to a man whose way is hid? Whew. Why is light given to a man whose way is hid, and whom God hath hedged in. He's speaking of himself. All this is speaking of himself. Basically, he's saying, why is it that now that I'm looking for death, I can't even seem to find it? And why do I have still this light in me from a man I've never seen? I've never even seen, whose ways are hidden and still a mystery. For my sighing cometh before I eat, and my roarings are poured out like the waters. For the thing which I greatly feared is come upon me. Who else feels like this? For the thing I greatly feared is come upon me, and that which I was afraid is come unto me. So the thing which I greatly feared is come upon me, and that which I was afraid is come unto me. So obviously he feared losing his family, his children and all. And loss has come upon him. But that light has come unto me. How do I have more light in this darkness? After I've lost everything. I was not in safety. Neither I had rest. Neither I was quiet. Yet trouble came. I was not in safety. Neither I had rest. Neither was I quiet. Yet trouble came. Let me tell you something honestly. This shows a test, a trial will have a lot of times nothing to do with you. We are vessels. It's like a cup. You get poured into, you get emptied out. Poured into, emptied out. What a great thing it is to be a vessel of God. For you will get poured into his greatness and overflow. But you can also stop for any reason. Not he, but the Lord can stop for any reason. The Spirit can. Why? And he never said why. Job never said why. But why is written all through this. He don't say why. Well, he does say why. Yeah, why. He said it in verse 11. He says why in verse 11. He says why in verse 12. He says why in verse 23. Okay, so he says why in 3 verses, but he says let. Remember, be careful with your words. Let, he says 1, 2. Let. I'm finding more whys. He says why a lot. Yeah, he says why a lot. But he also says let. Let's not forget this. At first, he sinned not with his words. At first. But after 7 days of grief, he sinned with his words. Because he's saying, let this happen. Cursing. Cursing ain't just curse words. They've changed it up. Cursing isn't cursing words. Cursing is permissions, agreements, contracts, spells that we say to people of people. Bless only with your lips. For all that you have cursed, bless. Pray for your enemies. Bless your enemies. Because your enemy, how can you, I'm going to tell you this. How can you sit there and not bless your enemies when your blessings come from your enemies? Hello. That's all I'm going to say. Make my enemies richer than me so that I can be richer than them. Because you're always going to have more enemies than friends. Might as well make them curious about you, make them invest in you, make them consumed in you, make them richer than me, make them more, That's why I don't like slander. Because one day you're going to bless me. One day you're going to bless me. Right? It's going to happen. That's for absolutely. That's for sure. But I really want us to sit here and ponder on this. This was such a great couple chapters. This is 3 chapters in. Like I said, by the end of this, I'm going to be able to get to the end of Job. Because the Lord wants me to read to the end of Job. He wants me to know what happens at the end of Job. And I realized I've only known about the struggle, not the ending. And that's the part it's hard for me to expect and be excited about. That's the part that the Lord wants me in expectancy of. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in, for sitting here and enjoying this time with me. So, yeah. Whew. Yeah. So, yes. Job chapter 1, 2, and 3 with commentary in. This will not be a podcast episode. This will just be a regular YouTube upload. And I will probably call this some kind of Bible deep dive or Bible study. But if you feel like you're in a season where you're coming out of your Job season and you're going into your abundant season, but you have no idea about what abundance look like, you have no idea what abundance really feels like, you have no idea what it's supposed to how you're supposed to even get there or transition into it from being in so much trauma and turmoil, this is going to be the series for you, because we're going to touch on all of those things. How to go from literally trauma to triumph. We're going to learn about really the tactics of what the enemy does and how the enemy is making its way through the different power points, energy centers of Job, and how we see the fact that, okay, I'm going to tell you this little piece of information. There is a scale. Hold on. I'm glad I sent this I'm so glad that I have this saved. I'm going to attach this picture to the end of this video. Oh, it's not even there. Wow. Okay, sorry. Actually, no. I have it. It will not be under this. It'll be under... Come on. 1 second. Soul. Yes, it's basically a map of consciousness where they talk about... It's developed by David R. Hawkins. I'm going to save this to my photo gallery. But it talks about a map of consciousness, and the colors of this conscious map correlates with the colors of our different chakras, where the root is red, the sacral is orange, the solar is yellow. The heart is green. The throat is blue. The third eye is lavender. And the crown is purple, right? And it has an energetic name, an energetic log. The name of that energy, it's predominant emotional state, the view of life that you have while in that energetic place or that level. Then it also has, if you are in God's view, so the view of life is a personal human view. God's view is a elevated view. Then it has the process of what you are doing, of who you are, of what you're taking in that energetic level. So let's say when Job opens his mouth, he's using his throat chakra. So that means he was in, let's say he was in green. Let's see, green. Reason and integrity. Was he in anger? I don't know. Oh, it's hard. It's hard. It's so complicated. It's so deep. But take a look at this diagram and this consciousness map, so that we can be able to really dissect what's really going on here, because it's so much deeper than what we can really talk about. Because this is, I'm telling you, when you strip everything from somebody, so much is questioning who am I? Why am I? Who do I serve? Why do I serve? Do I love myself? Do I love what did you question everything? And through questioning why, you find yourself in this place where you all of a sudden have all these answers. Not about why, but about who allowed the why to happen. Who allowed this why? Right? But this is good. Y'all tune in. I'm going to be posting the next two chapters tomorrow. We're working our way to chapter 40 in Job. If you're coming out of your Job season, let's get this. Let's go. All right, listen to this on your downtime. It's going to be just basically, I'm trying to make these an hour. A couple of hours. I hope you sit with me through it. I hope if you sit here with your Bible. I am reading out of the King James Version Bible. And this Bible is, I don't know who it's from. It was gifted to me by my mother, so I don't even, sorry. I don't even know. Hold on, I do know. By Thomas Nelson, thomasnelson.com. But any King James Version Bible will do. You can even get a Bible from the dollar store these days. But yes, that's it. That is all. I'm finna head to the Hizzle McShizzle McNizzle per usual. Make sure you tune in to all of my other things that I have on YouTube. Tune into my podcast. This was a great podcast episode this week of Remembering Who You Are. I'm also going to post the song that I created this week, or the tail end of last week, about really remembering who I am as I'm stepping into this completely different and life-altering and changing and elevating season of accepting that I'm chosen and that I need to live my life according to my chosenness. And I'm super elated, I'm super excited, I'm super honored to be where I am, who I am, and all the goodness and all the good things. But yes, thank you so much and have a blessed day, and I'll see you back here. Bye.
Love is a spectrum. There is not, as it were, nice love and nasty love, spiritual love and material love. These are all forms of the same energy. And you have to take it and let it grow where you find it. If you find that only one of these forms existed, if at least you